Hi, I'm Dr. Gerald Epstein. I've been trained in the medical tradition of the West here in the United States and have become a pioneer and world authority on my particular branch of therapeutic and healing practice called mental imagery. Let me tell you a story to sort of introduce you to some of the aspects of this work. So I was on my way to my office, and at the time I had a car, and I parked it in front of the office, but in a tight space. There was a car in front of me and a car behind me, and I was sort of maneuvering to get the car into the space, struggling, and I did, finally. But the woman who was in the car in front of me came to my window and said, "I'm awfully sorry that I didn't move the car because my battery went dead and I was waiting for AAA to come and recharge it." I said to her just suddenly, "How is your inner battery? Did your inner battery go dead?" She had a look of shock on her face and surprise, and she said to me, "Wow, that you mentioned that. I have been feeling lack of loss of energy inside. You see, I'm an asthmatic, and I was on my way to my doctor's appointment for an asthma checkup when the battery went dead." I said, "That's quite amazing because I published articles on asthma and the treatment of asthma through mental imagery, which are available as it stands right now in two refereed journals, and also they're available on my website, drjerryepstein.org. So I said, if you wait here for a moment, watch my car to help to see that I don't get a ticket, and I'm going to go and get you something that may be of value." I went inside my office, which was a few steps away from the curb where I parked. Came back out a couple of minutes later with these two articles that I published. I said, here's a present for you for something that might help you along with the treatment that you're getting. Where did this all come from? Where does it all lead? She said to me, "My battery went dead. Something in the outside world." Well, in my system of understanding, everything that happens outside of us is reflecting something going on inside of us. So if whatever we meet in the outside world or meeting in situations that confront us reflects something about ourselves. This is a piece of understanding that I've developed into a great system called GEMS, Gerald's Educational Medical System. Sometimes I call it Gerald Epstein's Medical System. And what it says is, of course, that there is not only a body, a chassis, that you're taking into the doctor's office for examination, basing yourself and the doctor's understanding on a disease model of illness. So there's always a looking for the disease, for the microorganisms that may be causing, the viruses that may be causing, the fungi that may be causing, the spirochetes that may be causing venereal illness, and so on, always looking for some disease function, a disease organism. What I'm providing is what we would call the science of human being, the science of being human. And that has to do with understanding this educational model, which is really truly integrative, so that it shows you that there's a relationship between your physical being, your emotional being, your mental being, your social being, and your moral being. These five elements that constitutes your existence here and every moment that you live as a human being experiencing the world. So what we're adding to the physical part, the disease part, is to look as well as to how it integrates into the rest of your whole living experience as a human being here on Earth. So naturally, when she said that her car battery went dead, my thought is, of course, in this wholeness of system, the wholeness of the system, to see the wholeness of it, I asked her about what was going on relationally through the systems to herself. Physical, emotional, mental, social, and moral, always in the forefront of my consciousness, always to be thinking about it this way, and hoping that you may think about it this way and come to think about it this way for yourself, so that you become an active participant in your own healthcare process and in your whole direction of maintaining health, preventing health, and coming to cure and heal possibly the conditions that beset you. So it was natural for me to ask her what was going on inside. I didn't have the opportunity to take it further because I would have asked her about what social issue in her circumstance, in her life situation at the current time, was taking her breath away, or what circumstance was it that she was crying about. Now, how did I get there? Because the physical body and emotional life are very closely, intimately related to each other. So you have a close indication of emotional and mental and social difficulties going on, and the moral difficulties, which I'll come back to, in terms of what the physical ailment is saying to us. So if the person is asthmatic, we are looking at possible conflicts about a dependency that's been taken away from us, a close relationship that has drifted away, an internal crying over a closeness that isn't there for us anymore. And so we experience that on a physical level as asthma. And so we lose our capacity to breathe correctly and the lungs are affected. A woman came to see me a number of years ago who had been asthmatic since birth. And she came to see me at the age of 35. I gave her an imagery exercise to do. The exercise was to imagine what was constricting her chest. What was it lying on her chest that was constricting her breathing and crushing the lungs, so to speak. She said she sees an elephant on her lying on her chest. I asked her, since this is imagination and in the image there are no logical rules, I asked her, it doesn't function by how it operates in the everyday time-space world of logic. I asked her to bring whatever she needs with her to remove the elephant. And with that, she brought a whole group of handlers who came with their implements to lift the elephant off her chest using a crane to remove the elephant carefully. And when the elephant was removed, she began to breathe more easily and regularly. And she felt at that moment that the asthmatic condition had changed. And with this experience, she was breathing for the first time in her life in what she called a normal way in the 35 years of her life. She got on the phone and called her doctor in another state to send the good news to him that she felt that the asthma was gone. And when she talked to him on the phone and said the asthma is, I feel relieved, he said, it's impossible. You'll always have asthma, and you can never be rid of it. You must always take your inhalers and your medicine. She hung up on him, and since that time, she has accomplished much. She ran the New York Marathon 3 times, and has had no real recurrence in any manner, shape, or form of that asthmatic condition. I asked her what was going on at the time when she came to see me, because she did fly from another state specifically to see me for this condition, because she knew about my work in imagery. And of course it came up that there was a relationship in which this man had promised to marry her, kept her on the hook for a number of years, and then finally he said, after many years, after she pushed him and pinned him to the wall, so to speak, about when, he said no, he was not going to marry her. And that occasioned, at that moment, the onset of an asthmatic attack. So she saw very quickly, as I pointed her attention to the relational issue here, about the difficulty in social connectedness and social relationship that is at the core of all conditions. And I mentioned before the moral part, the social moral matrix. The moral part are these 10 laws that govern us, the 10 spiritual laws in the Western tradition that govern our lives. 5 of them have to do with our relationship to each other, and 5 of them have to do with our relationship to what we call invisible reality, or God, or the absolute one mind, or divine consciousness. Many other terms also signify this invisible world. The second 5 that we were concerned with at that moment have to do with don't murder, preserve life, don't commit adultery, that is, don't mix 2 things together that don't inherently go together, like business and pleasure, Don't steal, be honest. Don't lie, tell the truth. And don't covet, meaning preserve the freedom of others. Don't trespass or cross the boundaries of another to claim and possess for yourself what doesn't belong to you. No avarice, greed, or and no jealousy, envy, competition, which is the source of jealousy, and comparison, which is the source of envy. So what happened? This man lied to her. He told her something, made her a promise that he did not keep. So he, in mutual participation with her, in co-creation with her, told an untruth, which she bought, and was living in this untruth with each other for a number of years. And finally, it came to pass when she recognized that she had to put an end to the situation to find out which way the wind was blowing. And when she found out that the wind was an ill wind that was blowing no good, this is when the asthmatic effect took place, because everything is related to everything else. One doesn't cause the other. So there is a physical, emotional, mental, social, moral aspect that are all mirroring each other at any moment. So the physical was reflecting the emotional and the social and the moral issue that was going on at that time. My intervention was in the physical sphere at that moment, and the asthma cleared up. Subsequently, we came to work on these other elements of her life so that they could become integrated as a whole way of living and experiencing life in a new way.